Hey guys, Kev here, and I have some rapid reviews to do for you. So I actually have 6 knives today to knock out. I want to get these back rolling to the next person. I did dedicated unboxings, I think, for all of these. So I figure I'll do a rapid review to wrap them up. I try to do one dedicated video per knife if possible. And yeah. So anyway, this is the Aceeto. This is a Grambo Knives knife. This is a pre-order. These are done by Best Tech, and it comes in 2 versions. This is a titanium frame lock, as you can see here. And then you have a titanium bolster lock with micarta scales. This looks like black micarta. It looks like the good type of micarta. I don't know if it's the linen or canvas. The stuff you see from Riyadh a lot. Stuff you see on like Veros, I think, that kind of stuff. I really do like this model. I think it's my favorite of the 2 models that was sent in. I'm not sure which model I think would sell best and overall perform the best. But for me personally, I like the Aceeto the best, and I like this bolster lock version the best out of all of them. And it's mostly because it's a bolster lock, so you don't have the frame lock getting in the way. It just makes it real easy to deploy right-handed, left-handed, whichever way you want to do it. D10 on this one's dialed in a bit. You can kind of roll it back like that. Usually I like a snappy D10, but because it's a front flipper, it is snappy, if that makes sense. This is not going to be a reverse flick knife, so you can't really get in there and get it a good flick. Maybe somebody would be able to, but not I. I like the clip right there, so I just think it's a good knife. Now, aesthetically, it looks gorgeous. I think it's a beautiful knife, beautiful design. I love the curvy flow, but you have this sort of poon thing going on here. You got the swedge. I love the grind. It's a nice hollow grind. It's just a unique knife in my opinion. It's got the Pena modern traditional thing going on, but it also has its own unique flair that sets it apart in my opinion. So to me, I like this better than the X series knives because it's just doing something a little bit different. It's not your traditional sort of pattern just made into a front flipper, right? It has some of those aspects. So I'd say it's more a modern flipper with some traditional aspects, which is a big difference in my opinion. I love the blade shape on this guy because it's a clip point, which I actually truly love the look of. I just don't like the performance of a clip point. And I don't know if I went over this in the unboxing, so I'm trying not to beat a dead horse here, but let me grab a knife. I don't have many, but I do have the sharpshooter jack from Jack Wolf Knives, which this is a fabulous knife. Now, I don't carry this one as much because it's a clip point. And what happens, if you watch my Instagram reels and stuff, you could see I did a video on this. But the way this clip point terminates is you have this belly up to the tip, right? And it has this upswept tip because of that. So when I go to use this tip to cut shipping labels, open packages, stuff like that, which is what I do with my knives, guys. So I am going to give you the review based on what I do with the knife. And me personally, my biggest tasks are opening Amazon packages, cutting out shipping labels to ship knives back out, right? Cutting some fruit, stuff like that. That's what I do. I open up some mulch bags and fertilizer bags in my yard. I don't chop trees down. So, like, I don't need the knife to chop trees, so I'm not going to tell you how it chops trees, if that makes sense. Obviously, if you watch my channel, you know this. So, anyway, you have to get up to like here to use that tip to penetrate and to get zipped through, right? That's funny. I was literally watching my unboxing of these Grambo knives. So it has that on my watch and I'm doing the review. That's hilarious. So yeah, if you check this out, it's still got that sort of clip point look. Obviously it's different, but it has that clip point look. It's got that just beauty to it. But the way this tip terminates is the belly is down here, and then it kind of gradually swoops up to the tip and kind of straightens out at the tip. So what you end up with is a clip point that you can easily get to the tip on and utilize. So getting into packaging and cutting shipping labels is much easier with this knife than it is with that one, or most traditional clip points. So point there is, I freaking love the blade shape, and I love the cutting on this. Nice hollow grind. It's very thin. For my everyday sort of tasks, this is perfect. This is all I need, and it's more than I need, honestly. You guys know I love that baby Barlow. That thing does everything I need it to. So I think for EDC, this is a home run, just fantastic. The weight to it is really good. The carry is really good. I carried this one a few times. I did not carry this one because I honestly just like this one better. So I didn't see the point in picking this one up and carrying it. It's the same clip. So, I mean, the only thing I could foresee is maybe the relief cut getting in the way, but I doubt it. It's a very good clip. Very simple milled clip, but it works. And that's important because milled clips sometimes suck ass. This one's much lighter, too, in my opinion, because, well, it's not much lighter, but it's lighter. There is some milling on the inside on one side. So on the show side, there's a little bit of milling in there, but not on the... yeah, there is. Sorry. But it still just feels heavier, probably because you have milling and then you have the micarta scales, which obviously you have to mill out the titanium to add the scale, so it's just lighter weight. I like the action, again, better on this one. I don't know if this is an indication of how they will ship, if the titanium frame lock is going to have a stiffer detent than the bolster lock, or if just these prototypes were dialed that way, right? Because he can obviously ask them to change whatever you want. So he may ask for this to be stiffer or that to be lighter, so you never know. But if it comes like this, I would be really happy. Ergonomics are fantastic. It just melts in your hands. Got that perfect little curvature to it. And the only negative I would say on the ergos is sometimes if I'm kind of getting into this grip, my thumb lands right onto this point. But it's not sharp, but it is a point, so it's not ideal. I'd prefer to be back here or up here, but my thumb kind of wants to go right there. That's going to be subjective to each person's hand. You have a steel insert, obviously. I think it's fantastic. I love the sort of satin up here and the stonewash down there. Looks really good. Same thing here. The frame lock is nice, guys. I mean, if you like frame locks better, then this is for you, right? I just think if you're right-handed, why would you want a front flipper with a frame lock? Because you're going to be on the lock bar and cause issues. Bolster lock, boom. People always think bolster lock, oh, that's going to be way better for lefties. No, on a front flipper, it's for you guys. It's for the righties out there. For a lefty, no matter what, on a front flipper, we're over here. There's no lock bar. We just don't have a clip to grab. That's the key. For a righty is you get a clip to grab onto, right? We don't, but we get the whole frame to hang on to. So, on a front flipper, you don't need to worry about us. Just kidding. But yeah, guys, the Aceeto here is, I think, a fantastic knife. Highly recommend. I think it's like $275 or $290 for this knife on pre-order that's shipped from like Australia. I think it's a good deal. Unless there's some unforeseen shipping costs I didn't see that cost a fortune, I think it's a good value. I think Best Tech absolutely killed it. I'm starting to see separation, if that makes sense. I used to think it was RYP, right? And then it was Best Tech, and QSP all in a row, and then, you know, like Kubi and stuff like that. Well, now I think it's RYP, and Best Tech is like right underneath them, like chomping at the bit underneath them, and then QSP and right? I can see things with QSP and that aren't quite at this level, where Best Tech is now at the level where these transitions are almost imperceptible. The finishing work on the back here on the spine is very, very nice. I mean, you can just compare it to my own knife. It's probably not the best thing to do, but if you look at the transitions, QSP did a wonderful job. But this just was a little more seamless, just a tiny bit more seamless. On the back of the spine here, again, very well done. But you can see the transition now. The coloring is gonna indicate that a little bit, but it's just a little bit more crisp, I guess is the way I would put it. Not by much, you know. Like I've said about this, it's 85-90% Riot. This is like 90-95%. And we can move percentages around, but you get my point. Is let's say 80% and this is 90, right? Neither of them's quite there, but damn are they close with Best Tech. So I'm really impressed with Best Tech. We have a couple projects or a project in the works with them, so I'm excited to see how that comes out. But these are really nice. So that's the Aceeto. And then this is the Russ. And again, guys, these are available on pre-order, so this is one of those times where I actually can show you the knife as it's available. Pretty cool. This is the Russ. I really like this knife. It's a titanium sub-frame lock is what I'm going with, because you can see the lock bar is cut out of that frame. And it seems like there's a piece laid on top, like this screw and that screw are holding this plate on. So I was kind of calling it a bolster lock. I don't really know what to call it. You can honestly just call it a frame lock, but to me it's a subframe lock. And it doesn't really matter. The point is you don't have your fingers to worry about on the lock bar. And it is a thumb stud knife and a front flipper. Now I will say my biggest gripe with this knife is the access to the stud on this side. The lefty thumb flick can be a little bit rough, and the right-handed reverse flick for me is really hard because of how close it is to the scale and because the D10 is pretty stout. The right-handed thumb flick, though, is really good. I mean, she fires out. I mean, the sounds on this thing are incredible. You do have that front flipper you can utilize. The action's really good. I think I stated in the unboxing the centering is just a little bit off, but it's barely. There are going to be changes to all of these knives I've showed you from Grambo. I believe he's getting rid of this slot on either side, so you're just going to have a blank sort of hole pivot, and then you're going to have the tooling for a Torx on this side, I believe, which is cool. Really nice clip. I love that there's like a landing spot for it that always makes it an easier clip to use. It's got a little weight to it, so I did carry this a couple times, and you know, it's a little bit heavier than I would prefer, but you know, some people like a heavier knife. The thumb studs are good. They're not the best thumb studs, but they work pretty well. I do wish they had a little more grip to them, but you know what, then they might kind of jack your finger up a little bit. So I think they're good. I like the finish, just a pretty simple bead blast finish. I like the overall design. It's got Les George vibes in my opinion, which again, it's not for me personally. I'm not into his sort of design aesthetic, and it's not just Les George. I mean, Peter Carey, it's a very similar sort of that tactical spear point type of deal going on. You know, look at the MBK Turbo, look at the VECP. It's kind of in that range of design in my opinion. I love the fact that he did this subframe lock. It's just a really unique and cool idea. And I think Best Tech, once again, as I was saying, I think they executed this really well. And it gives me hope because, you know, like I said, we're using Best Tech for a liner lock with an insert in it. And I think that's just good to see them killing it. The action is phenomenal. It's a really good knife, guys. If this is your bag in terms of design, I think it's worth it. I think you should pick it up. It's on bearings and it fires out. It's just a really cool knife. So that's the Grambeau Knives Russ. Shout out to Kane Grambo. Really appreciate you sending these my way, dude. He didn't have to do that. He added me to the list kind of at the end here. And I really do appreciate it because these are really cool knives. So go check out GrambeauKnives.com to see these, all right? Next up, we have a knife from Scotch and Things. So Steve sent this in. This is the Grayman Dua, and it's kind of the little brother to the Aceeto. Now, it's, again, not for me. It is a smaller knife this time, though. You got about a 3¼ inch blade, I think. And it fits my hand really well. This is a good knife, a well-made knife. It's just, again, not my style. It's on washers. It's a bruiser type knife. It's heavy duty. It's got some weight to it. It's just not me. I am the EDC knife guy, right? Like, I want a little reverse flicking, you know, liner lock knife like this or something. I like a lot of knives, but you get my point. This is just a little bit too bruisery for me. This is for those of you that, you know, you guys have an 80-10, or you have a Cold Steel Recon 1 or whatever you carry every day, or that's your house knife or whatever. I think this is going to be more up your alley. Now, it is a smaller size in those knives, but you get my point. It's in that realm where, again, I'm gonna be rocking, you know, a native 5 in S90V and fluted carbon fiber for my EDC needs. I don't need something I can pry with. I don't need something I can chop a tree down with. So the action on this is fantastic. You got a good thumb stud here. It does have one on the back, and it can be reverse flicked. It's not the easiest, but you know, it's there. It's fine. I'm sure some of you stronger folk out there could probably front flip this guy out. I can't do it, and I don't want to rip any fingers up. I hate this orange G10 show side. It's just disgusting, but that's me. I'm not an orange guy. It's got some dirt on it because Steve uses his knives, that bastard. How dare you use your shit, Steve, and then send it to me? Jeez. You have titanium scale underneath. I really like that sort of half and half scale. I think some people would argue that looks ugly. It should be nested or whatever, but I honestly don't care. I think it looks good. I think this is an older knife. I think this has been around for a while. It's probably like 5 years old or something like that. I've heard Grayman Knives is no longer making knives, unless they're just not making the Aceeto. I can't remember. But you can see there, lefty reverse flick works. Good grip. It does not have stick, but there is graphite all over this, so possible that it had stick or would have stick if I cleaned it off. Look at that relief cut on the inside. Just, you know, little details. Got a normal just spring clip, but it works. It's just a solid user knife, and I can see why Steve and Satu Dave and those guys really like these knives, because they're well built. They're tough. They're gonna, you know, do some heavy use for you. You know, you're not gonna fucking break this thing. Look at how thick that stock is, you know. So I get it, and I think it's cool, and I appreciate him letting me check it out. So that is the Grayman Knives Dua. Now, again, I want to reiterate, I didn't really carry or use this, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. I call it rapid reviews, but you know what I mean. Overviews / whatever. I always give you exactly the experience I have with the knife, and you take it and use it however you want. If you want to know how this thing performs, then I suggest you go check out Dave's channel, or you check out Steve over at Scotch and Things, because they'll be able to tell you. But I can tell you that it's comfortable in hand. It has good action, honestly, pretty good action, and it's a cool knife, and it's made very well. That's my biggest takeaway from the Grayman knives, is they're made really well. Next up is a slip joint. This is from QSP. This is the Hedgehog, and I've had this one a couple days, but I'm ready to move it on. It is a slip joint, so I don't know. I think I've gotten everything I can get out of it. Basically, the unboxing was like a full review. Obviously, not a full review, because I didn't, you know, use it or anything. But I basically, at this point, after handling a gajillion knives. I can pretty much break down a knife instantly if you want me to. You know what I mean? And in some cases like this, it's from the Apex group. I just want to keep it moving, and I'm not going to carry and use it because I'll tell you exactly why. Because I have this. I just got in the Jack Wolf Knives Midnight Jack for review. And if I'm being 100% honest, which I always am, I am going to carry and use this because it's just premium, hand, finished, it's just gorgeous. It's got this ridiculous hollow grind, beautiful blade shape, perfect for my EDC needs. It carries so beautifully, and it's gorgeous. And yeah, those reasons make me love this. And it doesn't mean I don't like this. I really do. I think this is the best non-Jack Wolf slip joint I have handled. I don't know about ever, but in a while. I really, really like this knife. It's a little thicker than I personally want to carry. I like a slimmer slip joint. 0.45 is about as thick as I want to go. That's kind of where the Jack Wolves are at. Any thicker than that, I'm not the biggest fan. Like the Tactile Bear is like 0.27. It's like stupid thin. I love it. This is going to do a little more work for you if you're in a place where you can't have a locking knife. I think this is a great sort of work/EDC knife. Now, I'm not saying you can pry fucking whatever with this and chop trees down, but I think this would do a lot of work for you. It's got a relatively thick stock. It does come down to a good edge. It's not going to be as slicey as that Jack Wolf. I love the blade shape. It's sort of a clipped sheep's foot or something. I don't know what you'd call it. A clipped warnie, something like that. Beautiful blade shape. Again, really good for my needs. EDC stuff. Utility cutting. It's in 14C28N, which I think for a slip joint is fantastic. Just in general, it's fantastic. It has that nail nick. That's kind of a long pull. You're never going to use that. You just grab here. You just grab the blade, and you're good to go. The walk and the talk, man. Just, so good. We are dead centered. Like, it's just a good knife, guys. It's got this green micarta, and it's super comfortable in the hand. You can one-hand it if you feel like being dangerous. You can do that. And it's just a great knife. So I'm going to keep this moving along. But shout out to the Apex group for sending it in. The QSP Hedgehog, guys, keep your eyes out at White Mountain Knives and other places for this. I think it's going to be a very popular model for them. And if you're into slip joints, it's definitely one you got to get. So the last knife is from Rusty Knife Lover. He actually sent me 2 knives, but the other one I didn't really even want to review. It was a Synergy 3 from Civivi. And there's nothing wrong with the knife. I think I've had one in before, and it just does nothing for me. I'm not a big fan of Persian blades, and so I just have left it in the package. It's ready to go out with this. This is the Billy Waugh Demo. I think it's sold by TYP. What is that? Something. Damn it. No, RYP. Robert something Payton. Hold on, I have the box. Robert Young Payton? You know me, I'm trying to remember right now, and I can't. I don't know why I can't find the box. It's right here somewhere. There it is. Come on, baby. It's on the freaking knife, probably, too. Here we go. Billy Waugh Demo. Robert Young Pelton. Damn, I was close. And designed by William Harsey. And it's basically these two guys made a knife designed the way they thought Billy Waugh would want a knife, if that makes sense. And I think they had his input. Not sure how that all worked. But I got to say, guys, I went into this thinking I would hate this knife. I think most people that knew that I was getting it were expecting me to hate it. And I actually kind of like this knife. Now, is it a knife I would carry and use and whatever? No. Is it a knife I did use? Yes. So I didn't actually carry the knife because it's just a big, bulky, it's just not for me, right? I'm not a bushcrafter. I'm not a tactical guy. You know, if you're one of those big, you know, dudes who loves tactical knives and you want to have something in your pocket, great, right? This is going to work for Friday night gas station fights. It's going to, you know, bushcraft a little for you and do stuff cool, right? It's just a little too heavy and out. It's just too much for me, guys. Like I've been saying this whole video, this knife does everything I need a knife to do. It flips out, fidgets really well. It has a nice utility blade. It can cut shipping labels. It can cut open packages. And it tucks away. It's nice deep carry. It does everything I need. In my day-to-day life, this is all I need. This might even be overkill for most days, honestly. So you got to understand that when you watch my channel, right? And so this does not make sense for me to carry around. I just don't want my pants on the floor. Like, I'm just not looking for that. But it doesn't mean I can't appreciate the knife and I can't appreciate Rusty for sending it my way, because I truly do. I am very glad I got to check this out. And it doesn't mean I can't review the knife just because I wouldn't carry it or whatever. I can give you my opinion on it. Now, would I say run out there and take what I say about this knife and use that as your only source? No. Go watch Scab freaking chop a tree down with this thing and get his opinion too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just silly. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds here. It's a cool knife. I love the titanium. I love the dimpling on there, whatever you want to call that. This is made by Lion Steel, and this is probably the best knife I've handled by Lion Steel. You have no blade play. You have no rock of any kind. It's not slipping. You know, the only negative is the D10, again, is too light. Classic Lion Steel, too light or too strong. But hey, it's not terrible, and it is dialed in for a reverse flick if you're not left-handed. You can flick it there, right-handed. Hold on, let me get a better grip. There, flicks out like a dream. Again, if you have a bigger hand, this is going to line up better and you're going to flick it easier. If you're like me and you have a little bit of a smaller hand, mine's a large glove size hand, but this knife is made for somebody with an XL, 2XL hand. You're going to have a better time if your hand is that size. You have a stonewash blade and you got billboarding everywhere. I hate it. Even up here. Like, I don't know what they're doing. So, here's the thing, guys. There's a marlin spike on the back of this, to which I think and most people would say this is stupid. Like, why is there a marlin spike on the back of a knife like this, right? It's even got a frame lock. It's pretty cool. Well, guess what? I freaking used this more than I used the blade. I had a couple instances where I needed to unknot something. This came in super handy, specifically when I opened this knife. This is a gift from my business partner, Colin Mason Pierre, and he put this stupid lanyard on it as a joke, right? It was funny. A stupid long lanyard. And I was trying to get it off, and I couldn't. Well, the marlin spike, it came in handy to get up under that paracord and pull it out and unknot it. It really worked extremely well. And it was like, wow, I got to use the knife for something. So the marlin spike is actually pretty handy. I would think out in the field or whatever, you actually might have some good uses for that. I mean, you could use it as a pick, right? You could use it definitely to get some zombies dead, right? You could right in the skull. The frame lock's a little stiff on the marlin spike. I will say it's very stiff, but it's not terrible. I like that it locks though, because my initial reaction was like, why don't they just make it a slip joint back here? Like, who cares? But when I was unknotting that thing, yeah, if it was a slip joint, it would have sucked. It would have kept closing. Sometimes that, like, same with like bottle openers, it makes them kind of useless when you do that. Nice deep carry clip. It is reversible, which is cool. I did not reverse it. Nope. It came with a extra little screw at the end here that you can change so you don't have this glass breaker. I think on this knife, this is like blasphemy for me to say, but I think on this knife, the glass breaker makes sense. I would just leave it on because it kind of goes with the knife and it kind of makes sense. If you're going to use it and have this knife for what it is, right? You're going to, you know, the Marlin spike and whatever, you might as well leave that on there and just, you know, you're probably the guy who wants that. So I think it's cool that it's on there. This is a cool knife. Billy Waugh Demo. I like it way better than expected. So I'm glad I got to check it out. So that is the Billy Waugh Demo. Then we have the QSP Hedgehog. Then we have the Grayman Knives Dua. It's a very crazy selection here. Then we have the Grambo knives. We have the Aceeto in full titanium and the Aceeto in a bolster lock micarta. And then lastly, we have the Grambo Knives Russ or Roos. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I appreciate you guys checking this stuff out. I love you all. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And I will catch you later.